Some creators think that viral content is a surefire way to explode your online presence. And while it's true that viral content can drastically change your account, it's not always going to be in a positive way. I've been keeping track of your comments talking about viral content, and you guys have struggled with everything from attracting the wrong audience to having people not engage with the rest of your content after going viral. Today, I want to walk you through 4 potential pitfalls of viral content and also present some solutions to the problems they create so you can fix them. Let's start out with the first one and say that you went viral for a content topic that you don't really want to be known for. This actually happened to my subscriber in the Great Wide, who said, "We had a video go viral with 2 million plus views on Instagram that boosted us from 500 followers to over 2,000 within a month. While that felt amazing at the time, I think it's actually hurting us now because a lot of the people who followed us from that one video are not necessarily interested in what we do as a whole, and that's hurting our newer posts in the algorithm." I know from experience as a small creator how exciting it can be to see your follower count tick up, but then realize that maybe people aren't engaging with the rest of your content, even though you're like, "Hello, I got you here. Please enjoy the rest of this content that I've been creating nonstop for weeks or years or however long you've had your account." And the very first thing I'll tell you about this is you're not alone. So in this situation, it's possible that that viral video was about a topic you don't normally create content about, and now it is kind of just out there, or maybe it was a one-off idea that you had that you weren't expecting to do well, and you don't necessarily want to be boxed into just recreating that same video over and over again. I would try to use this video, if possible, as inspiration and look at how you can take elements of that viral video and incorporate it into some of your other videos to try to get back some of that engagement from the new people who have joined you. So for example, I did a case study on this channel about how I gained 3,000 new followers from one reel that I posted. I will link that video in the description box in case you'd like to go watch it. That video was from May of this year, and the video that went viral was actually Met Gala coverage. So I am a fashion and beauty content creator. I wanted to talk about the Met Gala red carpet looks, and I did. And that video seemed to do really well, especially because I got it up with plenty of time ahead of the Met Gala. It had time to kind of pick up speed, to be shared by people, to have people predict what people were going to be wearing on the red carpet, etc., etc. And I actually loved that video, and it was a great topic for me. But the problem with that video is that the Met Gala happens once a year, and I don't necessarily just want to become a Met Gala account who is like counting down, okay guys, I wonder how many days. Hey Siri, how many more days until May 1st, 2025? Okay, so there's 219 days until the Met Gala from the time I'm filming this, and even though I would love to create more Met Gala coverage in the future, it's not something I'm going to turn my whole account into in the process. However, looking at some of what made that video successful could give me new content ideas. So for example, that topic did well for me, and even if I don't want to just create videos about Met Gala red carpet fashion, maybe I can branch out to other red carpet events. There are also lots of awards and ceremonies and things within the fashion community specifically that maybe aren't as big as like the Emmys or the Golden Globes or the more typical Hollywood red carpet events. I could also do more celebrity commentary. I could do commentary on street style. So that's one way to kind of take that super niche topic and broaden the scope a bit. Secondly, I could look at the style of that video and try to recreate that. So the video that I made was actually talking head on green screen. So that worked out really well, that format for me, because I was able to still be talking to camera and have that connection with my audience, but I was changing my green screen background quite a lot to make sure that I was showing relevant images of what I was actually talking about. So even just keeping that format in mind, knowing that that green screen video from just when someone swipes on and they see a person with a green screen background behind them and they can clearly see what the video is going to be about, that might be something that catches someone's attention or stops them from scrolling. And lastly, I would look at the length of that video. I personally feel like length varies across the board depending on what type of creator you are and how good you are at keeping someone's attention for a long time. That video that I shared, I believe, was just under 90 seconds. And as you guys know, if you're here on my YouTube channel, I create videos where I talk for way longer than that normally. So maybe looking at the length could be something to consider. I love storytelling and trying to keep someone engaged for a long time. And I'm pretty confident in my ability to create that slightly longer content. But maybe the video that took off for you was 6 seconds and it's really satisfying because it plays on a loop time and time again. So again, think about the topic, the style, and the length, and see if you can take those elements of your video and recreate it for future videos to try to increase that engagement a little bit. Also, on the note of engagement, I just want to say if you go viral and you notice that your engagement has dropped off on all of your other content, I want to reassure you that's actually not uncommon at all. In fact, that's one of the things that differentiates a viral piece of content from the rest of your content. You may see some residual views tick up and down the week before or the week after you post that viral content, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to instantly elevate the rest of your content unless you see a really, really massive boost in subscribers. But I think there are also some creative ways that you can try to market some of your existing content. So let's say you had an Instagram reel go viral. You could hop on stories and say, hey guys, I'm so glad you were enjoying my reel about the Met Gala this week. I feel like some of my other content kind of got lost in the shuffle, so I'm just sharing some other things that I created this week that I'm really proud of in case you'd also like to check out those videos too. And you could just repost your last like 3 reels or 3 reels that you've made recently that you're really proud of on Instagram stories, because maybe if your story views have spiked as a result of your viral content, that's a place to intentionally put the content in front of your audience versus just waiting for them to scroll past it and waiting for the algorithm to serve it to them. Or if you're a YouTube content creator and you've recently seen one of your videos take off, maybe try to recreate some of your thumbnails on other recent videos to mimic the style of the video that you saw was successful. Or play with the titles too. You can always go back and change and alter these things and see if it changes your click-through rate, your watch time, or your overall views. If you guys have ever tested any of what I'm talking about, like swapping out thumbnails or changing titles and have seen success with it, please let us know in the comments or tell us about a time you went viral and whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, and actually speaking of the comments, here's another scenario and an issue that could come up from viral content and what to do about it, which is maybe you went viral and the comments section is a hot mess. Honestly, this is probably the thing that you're going to have the least control over, because once a viral piece of content starts taking off, it is being fueled by every single aspect of engagement across the board. So that includes your views, your likes, your comments, your saves, your shares, all of those things. Every time someone does one of those things, it factors into getting that content in front of more people and more people sharing their opinions about it, whether you asked for them or not. I feel like in general, the comments section of most viral videos is going to be a hot mess almost no matter what you do, but you can decide how much of a hot mess you want it to be. I believe, though, that one of the top metrics that fuels a viral piece of content in the first place is going to be the comments. And when it comes to viral content, that means you are getting that video and that piece of content that you created in front of way more people than usual, and also not necessarily the type of people who you were creating the video for in the first place. So as you're scrolling through the comments of a video, you might see things that are unsolicited feedback, are potentially like mean or unnecessary, and hopefully not hurtful or harmful. But I think this is what I mean when I say you can decide how much of a hot mess you want the hot mess section of the comments to be, because I think it's your responsibility as a content creator to kind of moderate the comments as best you can and just make sure that maybe people are being silly, maybe they're leaving a sassy throwaway one-liner and it makes them feel good about themselves. But if you do see any comments that haven't already been filtered out by the platform that you're on that you think are hurtful or unnecessary or inappropriate in some way, I do think that part of your job as a content creator is to just try to moderate as much as you can. I know that the comments section can be a tough place for a content creator's mental health, so I don't want you to dwell too much on things. I just want you to use delete and block as freely as you would like on viral pieces of content. It's absolutely something I've done before. I've had videos go viral on TikTok and Instagram about, things that I didn't think were going to be that controversial or that dramatic. I had a video go viral earlier this year where I shared our experience flying nonstop from Auckland, New Zealand, all the way back to JFK. So that was just under 16 hours. And we had actually blocked off an entire row of seats on Air New Zealand. It's something they have called the Sky Couch. And I just wanted to share our experience doing it and talk about it. And I thought it was so cool. And I thought there could be nothing but positive comments on here. People were getting into arguments about like tall people privilege and short people privilege. They were getting into arguments about airlines and just how expensive everything is. They couldn't understand why I wasn't filming more when I was just trying to balance documenting my experience as much as I could without waking up the rest of the plane with like bright lights and being obnoxious. My point being that you are the judge of character. You are the moderator of your own channel. If you see comments that are hurtful, hateful, or inappropriate in any way, I would just delete and block immediately and report to the platforms if you need to, but just try to move on from it as quickly as possible because I really don't think it's worth dwelling on. And next, I want to talk about what to do if you went viral and now you're attracting the completely wrong audience. And by wrong audience, I don't mean that the people who have newly started following you are bad people in any way, shape, or form, but demographics are really important to content creators. It's really important to understand who you're talking to and who your audience is. And I'm going to read you a comment I got on a recent video about this exactly. So this subscriber commented and said, "One of the viral videos I created attracted a 65 plus audience for some reason, even though I'm 30. And now brands don't want to work with me because my audience is now more than half people ages 55 and older." So if you're in the same position, you had a video go viral and now you feel like your audience demographics are all out of whack and just not what you were expecting, I would ask yourself a few questions. One is definitely, how interested are you in monetizing your content through brand partnerships as this subscriber is? Because at the end of the day, it's less about whether or not we want to have an older or younger audience. It's about, is a brand who is aligned with my content and similar to what I want to create, who is their target audience? Who is their target customer? What are their demographics like? And how closely do they align with what I create? The bottom line is, if you want to work with brands, you need to understand how their ideal customer aligns with your audience on social media. And that's what it really comes down to. It's not in any way to shade anyone over or under a certain age for watching a particular type of content or following a particular type of creator, but it does come down to money at the end of the day if brands are a priority to you. So my question to this creator would be, how different are these people from your ideal followers? Let's take the age out of it for a minute. Are they all living in major cities? Are they all coming from one particular country or region? Is there some way that you can still connect the dots for brands if you take the age factor out of it for a minute? For example, let's say that I posted a beauty product review talking about a new concealer that I like, and it happened to be a big hit with, like, let's just say the 65 plus demographic because it really smoothed out lines and wrinkles. That demographic is actually one of the most underrated demographics for beauty, and those women still love to buy cosmetics. If anything, they have more money than they ever have to spend on cosmetics, and if they see something that works, they're going to buy it regardless. That is still someone who I would want in my audience, even if they are not a millennial or Gen Z, as most of my audience is, and as generally lots of beauty brands probably cater to. If I were to take away the age for a minute, if I looked at these new followers and saw that most of them lived in like New York City area or Los Angeles or Chicago, those were my top 3 cities on Instagram, I would be happy to be adding more to that familiar demographic of mine on Instagram too. And obviously, the gender split question is important for beauty and cosmetics. Women tend to buy the most and have the most spending power, so if older women are following me who live in major cities, I've still kind of got 2 out of 3 in terms of the demographics of what I would want to share with a beauty brand to say, hey, I have a lot of women following me. They live in major cities and they're kind of all over age range wise, which I think is cool because it opens you up to lots of different customers. Like if you're a brand and you hear me talk about it that way, I feel like that closes a lot of gaps and prevents a lot of questions from arising. And also, beauty is one of the more convoluted niches. I mean, if we're talking about something like, say, you review cameras or on your YouTube channel, or you're a tech content creator, I feel like there is no age, really, and stuff like that, because you can pick that up at any time. And again, if anything, the older you get, the more money you have and the more spending power you probably have as well. So that's what I would ask yourself is, first, how different are they from my ideal demographic? And then second to that, I would want to know, how long have you had this account? Have you been creating content for like 3 months? Because if that's the case, you could always just start over. And sometimes it's easier to start over, especially if you're newer and you haven't built up that huge following yet, if you want to. And if you don't want to start over one way or the other, then I would just ask yourself, how many new followers are we talking here from a viral piece of content? Because I've gone viral and had videos hit like over 2 million views, and the maximum that I've ever really gained from a single video is around 3,000 subscribers. If you want to maintain your account and you don't want to pull the video or start from scratch, it might not be the worst thing to go in and just manually remove some of the ones that really don't seem to match the description of your ideal customer avatar or the ideal viewer that you want watching your content. If that were me, I would just pop on Gilmore Girls in the background. I would get cozy. I would have my matcha with me ideally, and I would just start kind of going through my followers and removing as many as I could just within batches. You don't want to remove people too quickly and get flagged by Instagram, but if you can manually remove, even like, let's say you got 3,000 new subscribers and you can remove 500 of the ones that really, really don't match your description for your ideal viewer, that already is going to help your account health and help like reshape your demographics slightly. That option is obviously more work, but if it's worth it to you to maintain your existing account and to just try to do it manually, it might actually be the move in the long run. If you guys are watching this video on the day or the week or the time around which I am posting it, be sure to grab your Q4 creator checklist. Q4 is one of the busiest times of year for content creators because there is more holiday spending, brand partnerships, and events than there ever are typically. So this is a great time to get your ducks in a row and do some things to prepare yourself to have a successful fourth quarter this year. This checklist is free and it's linked down below in the description box. At the end of the day, I would really just encourage you to worry less about going viral and more about building community. And if you're still not convinced, be sure to check out the up next recommendation on the screen, which is The Case for Slow Growth, a video that I published a few weeks back. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.